Good afternoon, guys. We are currently just loading things up, and the reason for that is we had a power cut or a power outage, or however you like to say it. So I'm running a touch late, but we'll get things going. And today, I think the best way to start this is we're going to forget about our dynamic material because it's weird. It isn't going to be the final in the final build, so I'm not going to waste time on it. I would rather actually have a look at the save system so that testing then becomes a heck of a lot easier. So let's take a look at that and see if we can get that sorted out, and we'll take it from there. Okay, guys? So without further ado, let's get going. Right, so first thing we need to check is we need to check our blueprints, and we need to check our components, right, and make sure that our component input and component output are both getting saved, right? Now, we know to a certain degree they are, right? But we also know to a certain degree they aren't. Because when we load up the game, it isn't carrying on from where it was, right? So we need to have a look at that. And as I said, this is the first time loaded up this morning, so it's going to take a second. Well, first time loaded up after the power outage. So we'll click on that. It should open other stuff that we're needing. So we're not going to work it any further on this device. We may have a look at the research station because we know that the research station had a problem, right, with the number of things it was spawning. We don't need to save the arrows stay as they are, right? Now, the other thing that we need to save, or make sure that we save, is I want to check if there's anywhere here apparently not. Right, so what we want to do is, the other thing was the workers, okay? So that was comp input. We want to check comp output. Right, we're saving that. We're saving that. We're definitely saving that. We're saving the vector. And we're not saving the own and building, but we'll click that anyway. Okay, and the next part of this is in workers. Okay, so in the workers we have the comp worker component, and we certainly want to save these two things. So if we save that, now the issue here is whether or not our, right, if we do that and we continue, right, that's no good because there's nothing there. I've probably not saved that game. So if we load the game, well, it's not going to help us much. And with that in mind, we shall exit it for now, then we shall go to our imports, and then we shall go to saved and save games, select everything and delete it. Okay, so that gets rid of all our save games. So now we know what we need to do. And so first of all, let's load some probes. And we don't need to actually go the full distance here by placing every single building, but we can. It's this smelter that's annoying me. Right? So we shall build as usual. Right? Now, hang on a second. That's not right. Did I actually start a new game there? I don't think I did. Or maybe I did, and maybe it was called that big long name. Right, so we'll start that up. We'll start that. We shall put our smelter down. Try this again. As the dog loses its... So we'll switch that round. We'll wait on this to become active. And this to become active so we can see if it's bauxite or not. Okay, it's not. So basically what we'll do is we'll put down another probe, and we'll do it again over here. And then what we'll do is we shall start on our conveyors. And there's something going on here. There's something extremely strange going on. Right, we're going to stop that. There's something bizarre happening. So right, we'll just put a probe down, and then we'll do a couple of things on here. Check these two, because for some reason the conveyor belts had stopped working, and I haven't done anything to the conveyor belts in quite a long while, so this is kind of worrying. Right, so suddenly it starts working again. Don't ask me why. We'll ignore that little weird anomaly for now. Alright, we'll check this copper ore. Right, we need a couple more. So we'll put probe there. Stick a probe there, and then we'll actually stick a probe down here. Okay, we want there, right. spin these round, and now we shall start building our conveyors. To there, build it out to here. Okay, we shall set our research as per normal. Now we shall check our other mines. That's given us bauxite, so that's going to do us quite nicely. But we need to set that. We need to set that. Right, and then we save the game. And now we set our conveyor up to here and to there. And now what we can do is set that up to go a bit faster. Then we can save that. And this is running fine. So we'll check everything is running as it should be. Which it is at the moment. Okay, so we've got our iron sheets coming out. So everything's working nicely there. And now we have our first. Right, so if we stop this, okay, now what we want to do is check on all the variables when we load it up again. Okay, so if we continue, all our buildings are there again, all our conveyor belts are there, right? We can pause it and check our different. We have all those objects which aren't getting set, which is fine for now. We won't worry about that. Right, this is the player base, which doesn't do anything, so we don't need to worry too much about that. Right, here's our refiner. Okay. Now, if we look at our refiner, our product out is iron ore, and our input is bauxite. Okay, so that is showing up fine. Our output spliner is BP spline, which is fine. And the next object we want to look at is the smelter, not the research station, although we will take a look at that. We know that we have a problem with the smelter. Okay, now you can see that our product out is correct, our product in is correct, our input requirement is fine, our output is iron sheet, which is correct, our recipe inputs is iron ore, our recipe outputs is that, which is correct. And if we now look at comp input, we have iron ore, which is correct. And then if we look at comp output, we have nothing. Okay. So I am pretty sure that is incorrect. But let's go back and have a look at our refiner, okay? Which should have exactly the same things. So we've got a refiner. I wonder if I type in NUR. Right, so we've got our spliner, got a refiner, miner, spliner, refiner, smelter. So it's basically not NER. I wonder if we do BP, yeah, that's not going to help, is it? Okay, so if you look at the smelter again, right, we have an output, but our comp output is showing nothing in the S output. Now what we want to do is refer to the refiner to see if it's set up, right? So the output is iron ore, that's fine. And that has got the S output filled up. Okay? So I expect if we click on this and click on this, we have now set the smelter and yes, we have. So for some reason the save game is not saving the S output. Now the interesting thing here is we don't, well, I don't think we're showing anything there, so I don't think that's actually going to do anything. And you'll now notice that our miner is doing nothing, right? So our miner is not, it's that's the one that's done. So our current recipe is nothing. Our output is bauxite. So if we stop that for now, we go back to our miner and I'm not too sure where this is. So we have the comp output, right? But is that the recipe out? That is the question. And if it is, so we're getting is saved by EMS, right? But it looks to me like it's doing something else. Now let's take a look at this. and resume it. Now there's our first object, right? Now these should all say saved to EMS, right? Which it does. And if it does, we actually that's copper ore, which is fine. Resume that. Step over. Step over. What? Right, okay. So we enable breakpoint there, right? We resume that. Resume. And the first one is copper ore, right? We resume. And this one is bauxite. So we resume next. And the next one is bauxite. And we resume. And that's bauxite. And that should be it. Right? So the only thing that can be happening here is that if we pause again and we go to miner 1, which is the one that's connected, it's this one, right? And we come down and look at comp output. We do have a comp output, and it's bauxite, right? So the question is, why is this not doing anything? Right, so we have the mineral amount, which is 3722. Now the point being here, is this the right one? 2815, okay? So we're looking for 2815. And this is it here. Okay. So this is putting stuff in comp output. So the thing we need to look at here is this. Okay. There's refresh output. And here is output from storage. So we need to check if the spline is complete. Okay. So we don't have that set up. So stop that for now. Disable that. So the thing is, we have to check in the owner building if our output spliner is complete. Okay, so we need to find out where this is. It's in BP Spliner, and then we need to check to see if it's actually getting saved. And it is. So the first thing, okay, what we're going to do here is we're going to start a new game, right? And we're going to call it test 1. And what we'll do is work our way through. So we will build I guess we've already got a test 1. Right, so what we'll do is we'll do a probe until we get bauxite, right? And if it does this once and then really starts annoying me, then we'll set everything to be bauxite so we don't need to flaff about. Okay, so we're going to disable that for now. Until we know we have a bauxite. Okay. So we disable that. And then we resume that. Okay. We spin that around. Now you're going to be bauxite. Or are you going to be a pain in the neck? Right. So we can close that. And we can save it. Right. Now, the next thing we want to check is, well, we know this is going to work, right? And that's fine. So we're going to save that and we're going to stop it. Right, now the thing is here is I believe we'll check the miner first, right, for this spling complete. But what I'm saying is spling complete is actually going to come from the base building, I believe. So we're going to open this first, and as you can see there's no spling complete. But the base building is definitely not there either. Okay, so that would suggest that it's in the spliner, which it is. Right, so if we press continue, right, we know that this is going to be bauxite, so we can resume that. But there's something that's stopping it from outputting. Okay, actually wait a minute, no there's not. It's going. Right, now what we'll do is we'll add some more workers, right? Right, so now if we save it, and we stop it, and we press play, and we continue, then basically it's not going to do anything for a second or two. The interesting thing is we have not saved the workers, and I think that's because, right, we'll stop that a minute. Right, if we look at the worker component and we'll look at the class settings, it's not got EMS added, so we basically add EMS save interface, and those are both set to save, so we compile that, right, and we press play again, continue, then we resume, then we add some workers. Okay, and now we have, it's not adding the workers to the binary. Is it? That's interesting. But I mean in a way that it's not interesting. If we pause this for a second, right? And then we've got to open the controller. It's a controller that's adding workers, right? So I'm not 100% sure if we're going to have to do this again to make it work, but we can check it. So what we'll do is we'll go into the FE controller and let's see if it's actually adding the workers, or if we have done something to stop it doing that. Apparently we're doing it. So we'll add a breakpoint there. Resume that. Then we'll step into. Then we'll step over, step over, step over. Then we'll resume. So it's going to do this again. It's only going to do it twice. Now, it seems to me that it is adding the workers, but our widget isn't updating properly. That seems to be the issue here, because you'll notice that it is outputting stuff faster. So it would appear that our widget isn't updating anymore, where before it was. Right, which is a bug, but we can look at that. But we're not looking at that for the moment, right? We can resume that. We save everything. We can stop that. We can resume it. Continue. Resume that. And basically this should start outputting stuff. There's going to be a delay. There it goes. So it is outputting stuff. Right? So we're going to stop it for now. Then we're going to start it and continue it. And what we're going to do is we're going to build our smelter. Okay. So we've built our smelter. And we'll spin it round. Then we shall join it up now. Click on that. Okay. And now what we'll do is we'll save it again. And we're basically going to wait and see what this does. We're going to save that. Save that. Okay. Then we're going to have a look at our smelter. Okay. And we can see from the output that it's set to nothing. And then if we set it to that, then we'll save it. Okay. And now this isn't doing anything. Our refiner is now not doing anything. Right, that's all okay. Our comp input is not getting anything. So if we check on our comp input, we need to check to see if anything's coming in, which it is, but for whatever reason it ain't firing it. And okay, so it isn't happening in there. It must be happening in the base building. And this is it. No, that's not it. And now I would have thought we're looking at the refiner. So we'll check out the refiner here. And this is the thing that should be firing, okay? So if we enable a breakpoint there, and and it ain't firing at all. So if we pause that, this is coming from the output object, right? When it reaches the end of its connection, so if we look at the output object, okay, enable that breakpoint, and then we'll check what these are. So it goes to there, it's an object to self, that is the spliner. The end actor is not set, right? So it ain't gonna fire this, okay? So my spline is saved and it's a spliner. So in our spliner we should have an end actor which is saved, okay? So we have a bit of an issue here, all in all. This isn't getting saved for whatever reason. Let's have a look at the class settings. It's got EMS, so that's fine. Okay. I'm just thinking here. We've got to begin play. Right. We might need to set that to a further delay. So if we continue now, do we have that end actor? Is the question. And where indeed did we go with that? It was from the BP output object, wasn't it? Right, so we're breaking there. Right, so that does that. We have the end spline, but we have nothing in the end actor. Okay. So the question is, where do we set that up? End actor is in the spliner, right? So it's all to do with the spliner basically. Right, it's this part here. Interesting problem this is. Interesting problem indeed. So that's set. Division amount. I believe track should probably be saved. That's getting saved. That won't be getting saved. Right, so we don't really need any more of that. So our issue at the moment is this variable is not getting set. Or returned. Okay. Now the interesting, okay, so let's do one more thing, okay? What we'll do is we'll say continue, right? We'll resume that. And then what we'll do is we'll build another building. We've actually got two different splines here. Right, so this is jumping into here. And we've got the spliner, but we ain't got an end actor. Okay. So what we're going to have to do is check if we only do it once, if we've still got an end actor or not, right? If we do it once and we save it, do we have an end actor? Or is it because there's more than one spline and it's confusing matters or something? Right, so we do that. We do that. Then we build our refinery. Right, so we're fine with that. Okay, we're fine with that. So if we save that for now, right, and then we add our conveyor. Okay. Now I'm expecting this to have a spline, or the building to have the right thing. Okay. So we have spline C0 and we have BP refiner. Okay. So we can disable this breakpoint and we can resume, and that's fine. Right, we want that to happen. Then we can save this. Okay. Make sure we save it, then stop it. And now what we want to do is when we load this, we want to know if this is in the right place, if this is actually set or not, right? So if we continue that, right, why did it not save the spline? So that should have been fine, right? So if we save that, right, we get our thing, and we've got spline and refiner, right? So we stop that, press play, continue. We have our thing. Okay. And the question now is, do we have our end actor? And the answer is no. Right, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit that button, and now do we have still nothing? Well, that gives us a bit of a headache, doesn't it? Okay. Right, I'm kind of lost on this one. So with that, I'm going to go and grab a cigarette and a think, and I shall be back in 2 minutes. So see you in 2. Okay guys, we're back, and having a think about it, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to try it with a splitter and see if the same thing occurs, right? So if I stop that for now, what we'll do is new game. So we'll call it splitter, and we'll try this with splitter now. As you can tell, we're not getting very far here, but that's just the way it goes sometimes, you know. So what we'll do here is we shall build a connector, and we shall make a splitter. Okay. And we shall click on this. Well, actually, what we'll do is, I don't think this is going to show us what the end is. So, it doesn't matter what that is. What we'll do is conveyor belt, then to there. Then if we save this, then it is going to, apparently it's not going to do that. Right, and that's because we didn't have that enabled. So we've got an end point here, right? So we have saved it. So we can resume it, then stop it, then play, right? And we can see now where this goes, if this actually has an end actor. Right? So nothing there, got nothing again on the end actor. Right? So what we're going to do is we're going to write this down as an issue, which I'm going to check offline because this really isn't getting us anywhere. So end actor on the spline. Okay. So there's only a couple of things I can really check here, and that is on the spliner that we are, you see, we're doing our delay to let it do its thing. and it's basically doing its thing. Now I'm wondering here, right, if we do that, and then we continue, does it actually draw the spline? And the reality is, no, it doesn't. Right? So, we do need to do this to make it draw the spline. And let's do something else. Let's do print string here. And no end actor. Right? And we'll put this up for a minute. Right, but what we'll do is we'll pull this in and we'll say is valid. Right? And that's going to check to see if this is valid, and if it's not valid, it's going to do that. I'm just seeing if this, if forcing it to, well, that doesn't make any sense, does it? And there we get no end actor. Right, now I've got one more idea to make this work. Right, and that is the interesting thing about this end actor, right, is the fact that it's an actor. Okay, now this is the only thing that's been different about things not loading up. It's not strictly true, but let's forget about that for now, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an empty blueprint, and so we'll put it in here because this is basically where it would be. We'll say blueprint class, right, and actor, and we'll say BP master builder. Okay, and it's not going to have anything in it at all. Okay, and then what we're going to do is completely break everything, probably. Right, so we'll go to the spliner, right, we'll go to the spliner, and this is, yeah, that's the spliner. So, sorry, we'll go to the splitter, right, so we'll go to the dumb splitter, okay, and then actually we go to the BP base connector, okay, well actually that was never going to work anyway. right? Because that doesn't have, actually it does. Hi Kofi, how are you, mate? Right, so we want that to save, that's for sure. So this is a base connector, right? But what we want to do is actually set the parent class, right, to master builder. Okay. And now in the spliner, I'm going to set the end actor to be master builder. Right now, I'm hoping this doesn't, well, this is probably going to cause all sorts of issues. Right? And finish the spline is going to be BP master builder, and then this might causes all sorts of issues as well. Okay, so we're gonna have to set that there. Okay, so let's try this. We're going to create a new game, and we're going to call it Spliner 2. Okay, we're going to create our probe. Then we're going to create our splitter. Which can be there. Okay. And now if we join this up, hopefully if we go to the spliner, right, we can add a breakpoint there. And we'll see what it actually does. So the end actor is a master building reference, right? Which is that. So that's cool. Then we can save it and stop it. And now in here, this is where we hope it picks up the right thing. And it hasn't saved the damn thing. Did I do something weird there? Right, we'll try play again. New game. SP1. No, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that either. We want to do a probe. Then we want to do a splitter. Let's call it there. That's actually not what we wanted to do. Right. So we shall try it over here. See what happens. And resume that. Right. And save that. Oh, I'm an idiot. I haven't set that object, the new object, to actually to be an EMS. What an idiot. Right, where the hell is it? Right, so did I set this to be? It's up one for there. Right, master builder. Right, and it has to be added to EMS. So we save that. Right. And now, because of my stupidity, we have to do it again. Rookie mistakes. Right, so I can go there. And we can check this out, see how it goes. Right. Build our conveyors. Once this is available. Zoom that. Okay. So in theory this should now work. This should have an end actor, right? Right, so it has. So we resume that, we save it, we unbreak that, right? So we save that, we stop it, we put this back on, we press play, continue, there we go, we resume that, and here comes our barrels, and let's see if we have something this time. If not, we're kinda lost. So we have the spline and we still have none, right? So basically that did not work. I was hoping it would, but it didn't. Okay, so we go back to our dumb splitter. Actually, we go back to our base connector and we remove this. So we reparent this to CPP. I think it's CPP connector, is it? Yeah, we'll go with that. Okay, and then in our spliner, we plug this back in and we delete this and we change the actor back to actor. Right. Then we go back to here and we change this back to an actor, and that should sort us back out to where we were. Hopefully. Yep. But it doesn't solve our problem, unfortunately, which is something we're going to have to look at later on, I think. What we'll do is we'll plug this back in here, we'll delete this, and we'll move this back in. Right. So what we can test out next is going to be pretty easy to test, and that is so we've got the BP combiner, right, and basically that's it. Dumb splitter. Right, that should be us now. Now, the final thing that we need to check here is our worker components, right? So, the way to do that is, well, I've closed that all down, but that's okay, is if we go into base building and we go to here, and actually we go to workers, right? So we check this, make sure it's got EMS, right? And we can see both of these, so that's fine. So we can check if it's returning everything back. So we can check new game and say work 0. Check this. I'm just basically going around now and checking everything. I didn't actually need to do that. I could have done it with this refinery and just, well, what? You what? Oh, that's interesting. So it would appear our little, right, we do L, 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 and this is showing current workers 9, but our widget isn't updating. Okay. So let's take a look. Well, first of all, let's save it and make sure it's saving, and then once it's saved, that's FE controller, add single worker. Okay, whatever. Right. So if we press continue, we've got our miner there. And it's not returning our workers. So we've definitely set them. Right? And definitely in base building. We're going in here. We probably need a delay in here. Right, so let's stick a delay. We've not got quite the right setup here at this point, I don't think. We need to have a little look at and it's still not getting the current workers. But if we do that, we've now got 6. Save that, stop it, resume. Right, we pretty much we're happy with that for the moment, or at least we know what's going on with it. Even though it's not ideal. So it's not returning workers at all. So it would appear in here on begin play, we're doing our delay. Okay. Okay. So it's resetting it. Okay. So it's resetting it. So therefore, in our base building, we have our EMS, saved by EMS, right? So what we do is we say we're going to do this, right? And then with the base building is EMS. We're going to get that, right? Then we say branch. So we can branch on this. And if it's false, we do that. And if it's true, we basically do nothing. And the reason all of these that should be from 1, which is why they're all getting 2. So if we just press play and continue, right, we've got 1. So if we do L, 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 right, we've got 7 workers, and we hit the down key to save it. Then we can stop that, press play again, go to continue, and it's still got 1. Would you believe? So what we'll do is we'll add the breakpoint. Press. What we shall do is we shall, wow, that's doing weird stuff. Okay. Close that, remove, and now everything's going to shit. Okay. Selected object. just an actor. That's fine. Okay, so we're gonna have to start this again because this is basically going to shit. Right. Call it Wart 1. Right, what's going on here? Ah, right, okay. So, what we're going to do is that. And we're going to step over. Okay, so that's going to set it up. Resume that. Alright. And now the next thing we're going to do is click on that and whatever. But the next thing we're going to do is hit L a few times. And this is went to complete crap because it thinks that's now a refiner for some unknown reason. Am I really stupid? Is that what's going on here? Did I actually build a refiner instead of putting a miner down? Is that what actually happened there? I guess I must be losing it here. Right. So that should be a step over and it should go down and that should be all okay. Right? That should be all super good. Everything working there fine. And that's cool. So we have one worker, which is fine. Click on that, hit L a few times. We hit it 4 times there, so we should have 5 workers, which is fine. And next we should save it. Then stop it. Now I don't know what these errors are. That's nothing. That's nothing. Don't know why I did that. Anyway, so if we now press play and we continue, our EMS save is true, so we shouldn't reset anything. I don't believe we did there, but we've still got one worker. Now, if we go to our miner, we should be able to look at our workers. If we go to here, and that is 1 in 10. Okay. So that's a bit of a problem. Okay. Now, I wonder. Let's try that again, right? And let's continue. Right? Now, this is in comp. So let's see if it ever goes in here, right? It never goes in here again. So this is bizarre. Add single worker. Gets worker name, blah 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 blah. Does that. Adds it to individual workers. Right, and does all that, and that's what it should do. Right? That's 2 seconds, that's way too long. So it's just not bringing back this at all. Right? Now, 100% sure that's done. Now, there was weird stuff going on a minute ago, so I'm going to check that out. So, weird stuff. And let's see if it still does weird stuff. So none of these are going to be saved at the moment, so we'll just do disable and go through that. And now let's see if it's still doing that weird stuff. Right, apparently not. Okay. So we're no longer doing weird stuff, which is a good thing. But we still have all the issues we previously had with the saving system. So we have really not fixed anything at all, but we will fix something just now. Right? And that is to do with the building details. So let's get something fixed, shall we? And it's in here. And it's going to be on the minor. So this does update worker bar. So in the minor, we do that. We create the mining widget. So in the mining widget, we don't do that. If we go back to the building details, progress bar workers, right? We do update worker bar. So this must be in the actual building details. Event construct, refresh recipe. And where do we call this? It's certainly not in there, right? Right, so we need to check this across the board to see where it's actually updating this. Right, so it's doing that. It's doing that. So the question is, where do we call that? Set timer by function name. And that's on update worker bar. Right. So we're going to stop that for now. And we're going to take the spaces away. Then we're going to save that. Save that. And we shall just continue this for now. And if we continue it, we didn't save it, which is awesome. No. But no, the refinery should also show the workers, right? Should show the worker bar. Right, so go to our worker bar. Right, it doesn't tell us that, there we go. Right, so there we go, and there we go, it's updating now. Right, so that's doing that nicely. It does that. Now the thing we want to do is we want to stop this and actually we want to call this so that it updates it straight away. Right, and you know what? This is actually pointless. because while you're in that menu, you can't actually add workers. So that kind of becomes irrelevant to the whole thing. So we'll stop that. We'll save that. And on that point, guys, I'm going to have to do some studying on this save system and get some feedback from the guys that made it to find out why certain values aren't saved. I'm going to check out documentation first, and then we'll take it from there. So if you've joined and watched, thank you very much. Hit the subscribe button, check out the description for Patreon, my previous game, and the Discord. And once again, thank you for watching. Bye bye for now.